Hey, this is Emily at Oz Inflatable Kayaks, and this is the Quest Tandem inflatable kayak from Jaspara. This kayak's really lightweight. I love a lightweight kayak, and particularly in this case because it makes it viable as a solo convertible kayak as well. Really comfortable, tracks beautifully in the water, super sturdy as well. It's quite unique, even though it looks similar to other models on the market. And in this video, I'm going to share with you what makes it so special. So at first glance, you've got a drop stitch floor in the middle and side tubes on either side, and that's a pretty standard design that we see in the market. Drop stitch, by the way, it just means that the chamber is stitched top to bottom all the way through, and so you can put high pressure in it. This is a 10 psi floor, and it will become very rigid. It's what they make stand-up paddle boards out of, if you can imagine all of the weight on one spot, and that board has to stay rigid. And you can see the balance in this kayak is beautiful. So, put the heavier person in the front is my recommendation, or at least try it with a heavier person in the front, but you get really good rigidity, no bending, no sagging. But what makes it different to the other side tube? So this is a side tube inflatable kayak with a drop stitch floor, and I'm not picking on this particular model. There are lots like this that have this bow and stern that are way up out of the water. They have what's called rocker, which is the curve in the base of the kayak. Great for whitewater because it allows you to pivot. Terrible for flat water. So that has to be compensated for, or else you just get blown all over the place, and every stroke you take is a big waggle. And the way they compensate that usually is with fins. So that model I just showed you has 2 fins on the bottom. Again, not picking on this particular model. This is a very standard design, and this one at least has more of a flat base here, and then it also has these hard sort of bow and stern keel forms on either end. And these work in tandem configuration. So when you've got a decent amount of weight in the kayak, these do sit in the water. You get reasonable tracking out of these. The problem is when you go solo, they're up out of the water and they're doing nothing. And also, you got to put 2 fins on. I hate sup fin boxes and getting fins in and out of them. I find it really painful. So we went back to the drawing board, and this is the design that does not require fins, okay? And what you have is you can see the flat base of the kayak here, and then the drop stitch keel actually goes down into the water, right? It's both at the bow and the stern, and you can see even with little old me, I don't weigh very much. In this giant tandem kayak, I've got both the bow and the stern keel in the water. I have no fin on. You can see how that bow is peeling the water away, and it is quite a good effect. Look how straight we're going. Look how it's peeling that water, right? Look at the waggle that's not happening in this kayak with no fin in. It's very impressive, very pleasant. You don't get a huge wind effect with this kayak because it's quite low profile. There's not a lot of the kayak up out of the water, but with that keel at the bow and stern, even if you are getting slowed down by the wind, you're not getting turned. It's just, I cannot emphasize how wonderful this is. I hate getting turned by the wind. Now, the other thing that makes this really good as a solo kayak, because pretty well every tandem inflatable kayak on the market is marketed to be solo use as well. And they'll give you there'll be a way to clip in the seat sort of in the middle. The problem is that realistically, for one person to get that kayak set up and down to the water, they would have to be very strong. And we often have people that buy a tandem thinking they're going to go solo, and then they come back and buy a solo, right? This one is really viable. Like, I've got this up over my head, and that's with 2 seats and 2 sets of foot pegs and 2 deck lifts in. Because when you're comparing with other kayaks, just be careful here. They'll say hull weight or they'll say kayak weight, and it's no seats, no fins, no foot pegs, no deck lifts, right? So they're making it sound lighter than it is. But 17 kilograms, a lot of people can lift 17 kilograms by themselves. And certainly for tandem with 2 people lifting it, it's very achievable. It's really, really good. But there is still quite a bit of space, right? You can see in here, up in the bow, so the foot pegs stop here. Your feet don't go in there. You've got quite a bit of storage in there because the bow and stern actually go down with that keel in the front. And in the back, same thing. You've got quite a bit of storage. Oh, sorry, that's the bow. Getting my wires crossed. So the foot pegs stop here. You've got quite a bit of storage up the front. You've got a lot of storage in the back and behind the seat. These straps can come off. Those straps at the back of the seat are just for stopping the seat falling forwards as you are paddling. And you can see here, so Lee's got his feet fully extended. This was us testing where the foot pegs should be. And I did have my feet fully extended, and we're just taking a break and having a snack. And we've still got a gap here between us. So you could have two reasonably tall people in this kayak, and you wouldn't have knees bent. So that's something to look out for in the photos. You'll see a tandem kayak, and the people will have their knees up to their chin to be able to fit themselves in. So good amount of storage. You would fit a small to medium dog pretty easily. Like a very large dog or two very large dogs might be a stretch. It's hard to know. And you would fit a kid in, I would say, but two kids or a large kid, again, might be a stretch. We do have larger kayaks if that's what you want to do. Just be aware that they get heavier. So a lot of people are looking for the lightweight kayaks for their vehicles as well. Sometimes there's weight limits on vehicles, especially with towing, especially with four-wheel drives. This is a fantastic option for that. Now, the other thing, I don't know if you can kind of tell from this picture, but it's so stable. You can just fall into it. So again, good for kids, good for dogs, good for fishing. Just so easy. We have a lot of customers that don't have the best stability anymore, and to be able to flop into something and flop out of it is awesome. Now, comfort for me is really important, because comfort is one of the features that takes a kayak from, yeah, I'm going out for a quick hour of relaxation in the water, to, hey, I'm going for a big adventure, right? If you have a good back support, a good foot support, you suddenly can go for so much longer. I love foot pegs. I love that they're adjustable. I love that I can brace and it supports my lower back. I can also push through my feet, rotate my whole body, and get a really efficient, powerful stroke with the foot pegs. If you don't like foot pegs, just leave them out, but they're included. You also get two sets of foot pegs, you get two seats. A couple of things about the seats. We put extra thickness in the stiffener of the back of the seat, because I just found that this sort of style of seat, you often ended up kind of bending and not giving you really a lot of support in the lumbar. I need a lot of support in my lumbar when I'm paddling. So you've got two adjustment points on the strap, kind of lumbar spine and kind of mid back there. The D-rings are really high on the inner tube. That is not an accident, right? When they're down lower here, or even on the floor, sometimes you see them, they just don't work that well. The pulling down doesn't give you anywhere near as much support as the pulling forwards, in my experience. And the cushion. So this cushion's removable. With this particular model, with the Quest, I actually like the cushion out. I found that is the perfect angle for me with the water, with the cushion out. But for some people to have their hips up higher than their heels takes a lot of pressure off the hamstrings. So we've given you the option. Now, there is a central seating position. So if you want to go solo, you clip your seat in here, and that becomes your rear that holds the seat back upright. And there is here a solo foot peg position. This little D-ring here, by the way, that's for your paddle leash. Now, in terms of setup, this is quite an easy kayak to set up. You unroll, you inflate the three chambers. They have the same valve, so you can use the same adapter. Different pressures. Do the floor first, 10 psi, quite high pressure, and then you can pop your foot pegs in while you're waiting for that. Side chambers between 3 and 5, depending on how much weight you're putting into the kayak, basically. Foot pegs are optional. Deck lifts are optional, but any water that lands on your deck is going straight in. This was a big frustration point for me with other kayaks that look similar. So I got deck lifts on both the bow and the stern, because the stern, even when you're pulled up at a beach, those little waves break over the stern and just dump into your kayak. So I really like to be able to stay as dry as possible. The fin is totally optional. You really do not need it in the tandem kayak. Even paddling solo, you do not need it. We basically put it in so that you can throw on a propeller. Heaps of fun. I strongly recommend it. Pretty well any SUP fin box propeller on the market will just slide right in. It's good fun. Now, I showed you the drop stitch picture before. The side tubes are made of what's called PVC tarpaulin. So PVC tarpaulin is way better than regular PVC. It doesn't stretch. There's a layer of polyester in here, which is woven. It's not stretchy. It's thicker. You got 2 layers of PVC sandwiching a layer of polyester, so you can get much thicker. And it stops snags. So if you had a rock that, say, scratched the outside there, it hits that fabric layer and just kind of stops dead. So you end up with a cosmetic scratch, but it doesn't go through. It's a bit like scars. It's sort of like, yeah, I'm having a good time in my kayak if I've got scratches on it. And they've also given you these ridges here, these reinforcements. These are very, very tough because as you pull the kayak up on beaches and boat ramps, etc., that's the bit that will get pulled up, and you don't need to worry about that at all. It works really, really well. This is the team. We spent a lot of time on this kayak. This one was the trickiest one, getting all the balance right. You need the handle to be in the center of gravity so you're not tipping forwards and backwards. You need the foot pegs to be at a distance for all three positions so that you can fit a reasonable sort of size person in there with some variation. And you need to be able to fit rear paddler and front paddler in comfortably with the balance forward enough to keep the bow in the water. A lot of work. These guys were amazing, and watching their attention to detail and their carefulness as they sort of stuck everything on, the care with which they go around, and it was just an incredible experience. And then on top of that, they inflate everything and leave it for 7 days to make sure it's holding pressure. So we know that any kayak that's delivered to you is totally functional and has passed the quality test. It's very impressive. Love this kayak. If you're looking for something lightweight, not gigantic, but paddles absolutely beautifully, really comfortable, the Quest Tandem Inflatable Kayak might be perfect for you. If you're not sure, if you have any questions, please get in touch. This is Emily at Oz Inflatable Kayaks.